What's going on, Bottom Line viewers? It's Mitch here of the Bottom Line View, here for another NFL comparison. And this is the first NFL comparison I'm going to be doing of college football players. The NFL draft is coming up soon. The combine is currently happening right now. Everybody's talking about 5 quarterbacks. The 5 quarterbacks in the NFL draft, the top 5 prospects at the most important position. I'm going to break down each and every one of these 5 quarterbacks. I'm going to discuss who's better, and I'm going to debate and compare like I do for my other videos. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Jim Brown, Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, Randy Moss, Jerry Rice. Like I do those videos, I'm going to be comparing these college football players, but it's a little bit different because those videos rely a lot on stats. They rely a lot on factual information on who is better, who had a better career. This is more about projecting who's the better prospect. This is more about the skill set of each player. This is more about who I would pick. So it's a little bit different. Breaking down the criteria for this video and for this debate, of course, we have Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, and Josh Rosen. Those are the 5 quarterbacks. We're going to get into the debate when it comes to skill set. That's going to be the number one thing we're going to be talking about. There's going to be a number of different categories on the field, off the field, that I think are really, really important for a franchise quarterback. So we're going to be looking at these 5 quarterbacks. Again, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, and Josh Rosen. These 5 quarterbacks, we're going to look at their stats, we're going to look at their skill set, and then we're going to decide and rank them 1 to 5 at the end of this video. Let me know, before the video even gets into the debate, who you believe is the best quarterback in the draft, and then once we finish the debate, let me know who you now think is the best quarterback in the draft. So I have a number of different categories. I have competition, so what was the best competition they've played, who played the best competition, where did they play, what conferences were they in. Team help, so how was their team? Was their team good? Was their team bad? Did it allow them to be successful? Did it not allow them to be successful? Toughness, how tough is the player? Vision, what was their vision as a passer? Did they look to pass? Did they look to run right away? How is their vision down the field? System, is their system good for the NFL? Does it translate? Potential, who is the best in terms of if they maximize their potential, who will be the best player? Release, throw motion, accuracy, arm strength, pocket poise. How good is he in the pocket? Is he able to avoid the pressure? Does he feel the pressure? Does he worry under the pressure? Is he not good under pressure? Those sort of things. How does he throw on the run? Mobility, size, because that's a skill. Size is a skill. Decision making. Do they throw interceptions? Do they fumble the ball? Leadership. And that is it. So those are the categories. And then I'm going to go through a tally system, give you the points at the end of the day. I'll give you some NFL comparables for each player, and then we'll be out of here. So let's go to the competition. Starting off the skill set. Competition-wise, I feel like Lamar Jackson has overall played the best competition. You've seen him play 3 seasons. He has played the national champion Clemson with Deshaun Watson last season. Had a great game there. That's one of his best games he's ever had. He's just played in the ACC, a very tough conference. He's played pretty much every single team he's had to. He's been ranked, and he's had to play very good teams. And I feel like just overall Lamar Jackson has had the toughest competition to face. He's not followed far behind by Baker Mayfield, who's also played extremely tough competition. Oklahoma, I would say, does play slightly easier competition, but he's also had to play the toughest of the tough, like the Georgias of the world this year, Ohio States. He's played all those sort of teams, so Baker Mayfield also has played very tough competition. At number 3, I have Darnold. He obviously plays for USC. They're going to play some tough teams. That's a very prestigious program, and they play a number of tough football teams year in and year out. Josh Rosen, I feel like being at UCLA, doesn't play as many tough teams. His team really isn't as good, so obviously he's not going to be in a college playoff or anything. And then last is obviously Josh Allen, who plays for Wyoming. He's not going to play very many good teams. Team help. So from least to most team help. So starting off with the least amount of team help, the least amount of talent around them, to the most amount of talent. So that's obviously Josh Allen. He played the least amount of competition, but he also had the least amount of help around him. His wide receivers were terrible. They couldn't catch the football. They often dropped passes. His offensive line constantly had him under pressure, and he was able to sort of overcome a lot of those things. If you watch this guy's tape consistently, he is really, really good at avoiding pressure because his offensive line is bad. And his receivers, oftentimes, when the ball is on the money, would drop the ball. His team and his defense, not very good. So overall, Josh Allen, the best in terms of playing with the least talent. Josh Rosen, obviously playing at UCLA, not at a USC, Oklahoma, or even a Louisville. He's going to have not that much talent. UCLA, though, very comparable amount of talent to Louisville. That's why I have Jackson at number 3. Jackson, you could really tell that Jackson was the driving force of his team. When you watch Louisville play, they were going to go as far as Lamar Jackson was going to go. He was going to take them to victories. He was going to get them wins. Now, he also, didn't play with some upper echelon talent like the last two guys. I feel like Darnold has had a lot of help, especially offensively with a ton of talent. There's going to be a number of NFL prospects that are coming out even in this draft from USC. USC always gets great talent. And then at number 5, Baker Mayfield. Now, Oklahoma is a very storied school. It's a very good school. He has a lot of talent, especially defensively on this past year's team. Some offensive talent, but Baker Mayfield. That's not to say Baker Mayfield is being carried by his team. Definitely not the case. He was the Heisman Trophy winner. But if you're going to be the Heisman Trophy winner, you also need some players around you. Toughness. So toughness overall. So how I took into account toughness, how did they respond to hits? How did they play? Are they aggressive? Do they kind of get excited? Do they get pumped up when they're in a physical game? Do they get up instantly after they get hit? Do they complain about flags or anything? I don't know. That sort of thing. So are they tough? Are they tough football players? And does that kind of lead to a tough football team? Overall, I have number 1 at Lamar Jackson. The reason why I have Lamar Jackson number 1 is because of the way that he runs the ball. Now, a lot of people that don't really know Lamar Jackson or haven't really studied or looked at tape of Lamar Jackson would say that Lamar Jackson is a finesse football player. But when you watch Lamar Jackson, he puts his shoulder first, very much like Carson Wentz does when running the football. He tries to run the guy over after he dekes him out. Plus, he really stays in the pocket. He's patient in the pocket, and he'll take a hit to make a throw. So that's why I feel like Lamar Jackson overall is the toughest guy, pretty much the difference maker being that when he runs the ball, he's aggressive. Number 2 is Baker Mayfield. He's tough in the pocket. He is a guy that really gets pumped up when it's a physical game. He is a guy that, because he's smaller, he takes bigger hits. He also doesn't see as many hits because he is smaller and because he's shorter. He also, as a runner, I didn't see him take a ton of hits overall. He's kind of smart at getting away from contact, and that's obviously a positive thing, but not in the way that Lamar Jackson would be so aggressive and try and get that extra yard every single time. And that's why I just have Lamar Jackson a little bit higher. Josh Allen, he obviously benefits from being huge and a freaking human being that's big, but Josh Allen takes big hits. Especially because his offensive line is bad. He takes a lot of hits off blitzes, a lot of hits off just guys being misassigned in the offensive line, missing blocks. And then running the football, he runs a lot like Cam Newton. He tries to kind of use his big body and try and run the guy over. So Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, and Jackson separate themselves in terms of toughness, in my opinion. All very good, very tough players. Sam Darnold, it's not that he's not tough. It's just not really noticeable. Like, he'll take hits, But then again, he also gets a little nervous when pressure is on him. I have noticed a little bit that when he does get hit consistently, he starts to change his mechanics a little bit. And his poor mechanics already kind of, I don't know. He's a tough player, but he's not like these other three guys, in my opinion. He doesn't like benefit from a tough football game. At number 5 is Josh Rosen. First off, he's not very durable. He misses a number of games. He gets injured a lot. And he is like basically a freaking, he's a wooden statue in the pocket. He doesn't move. He gets hit a lot, and that causes a lot of injuries. And he also gets nervous under pressure quite a bit. I do think that Sam Darnold has much better pocket presence, which we'll get to, than Josh Rosen. I feel like Josh Rosen gets a little antsy in the pocket at times. And because he's not very mobile, he's not really able to escape that pressure very well. Next category is vision. Overall, the guy with the best vision, and when I talk about vision is like as a passer, what do they do, when they're escaping pressure and looking down the field? Can they find the open receiver? Can they find the open receiver when their first guy isn't open? How do they read the defense and find the guy open? That sort of thing. How do they go through their progressions? Overall, when I take it all into account, I feel like Baker Mayfield makes the most magic happen with his eyes down the field. He's not the best in terms of reading a defense. I feel like that would go to Lamar Jackson or Allen, actually. But I feel like Mayfield is really good, especially on the run, and finding the open guy every single time, and also making the right play. He never misses a guy open. If he misses a guy open, he'll throw the ball out of bounds. He'll never really take a sack. He always sees the guy coming. He always knows where his offense. He's very good with his offense. He was really good with his offense. And I just feel like overall Mayfield has the best vision when it's all taken into account. Second is Allen. He's amazing. I'll talk about this later. He's amazing at throwing the ball on the run. And his vision when throwing the ball on the run is superb. It's very good. It's top notch. He does sometimes take sacks because he can't find the guy or nobody's open and he sort of makes a poor decision, but that's not necessarily vision. He's very good at reading a defense right off the bat when snapping the ball. He does get sometimes confused when his first and second read is gone. He sometimes forces the ball and makes a poor decision, and he kind of doesn't see a guy every once in a while. So that's why I have him at number 2 instead of number 1. Sam Darnold is very good in terms of stepping up in the pocket, moving away from pressure, and then finding a guy open. But he's not going to go out of his way to look at the first guy, then the second guy. He's a very one-read quarterback. So that's why he's number 3 to me. Lamar Jackson, I think what keeps him down at number 4, he's amazing at throwing the ball on the run and making the right decision. But oftentimes making the right decision with Lamar Jackson is just using his legs to get away from pressure. So for me, I didn't see him make as many throws as these top 3 guys on the run. I saw him just run a lot. So it's tough for me to really evaluate whether or not he has the same amount of throwing vision because he's such a good runner that he doesn't really need to throw the ball. He can just run. So that's kind of tough. Number 5 is Josh Rosen. He makes a lot of dumb errors, especially in the red zone. I feel like he is a good stand-up quarterback. He's a good pocket quarterback. But when he has to escape pressure and he has to move, he gets panicked. He throws the ball away too much. He misses an open receiver down the field. So he doesn't have that same ability to look down the field and see guys open the way that these other guys do. The system. So now when talking about the system and how each guy's going to benefit in the NFL, number 1 is Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, to me, has the most difficult system. Not in terms of team and working with the system and the team to make throws. He does make relatively easy throws. He makes a lot of amazing throws. He also makes a number of easy throws between the numbers. But his system is the Patriot system pretty much. It's the Perkins system. I don't remember. Earhart Perkins, I think, something like that. It's very similar to the Patriot system, just a lot more college football, a lot more read options, a lot more RPOs, that sort of stuff. But like Lamar Jackson, his system is very transferable to the NFL in terms of the drop back pass game, in my opinion. Josh Rosen, and the other thing with Lamar Jackson, I might have put Josh Rosen first until what happened with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs this year, where there was RPOs, there's read options, there's the traditional drop back pass game. But Lamar Jackson, he'd be under center, he'd be 5 wide, he'd be in 2 back sets, he'd be in a lot of different stuff. And I think a lot of people overlook that stuff with Lamar Jackson. He's done a lot offensively. Second is Josh Rosen. He's basically knows all the drop back pass game stuff. He's been in a very traditional offense at UCLA, and that's definitely going to help him. At number 3, Josh Allen. I feel like he is in an offense that is very simplistic in terms of they make him make a lot of throws. Like, he has to make a lot of throws, and I feel like he'll benefit from a better system. So that's why I'm at number 3 mostly. But he was in a lot of traditional drop back pass game with an occasional run or two because of his size and his speed. At number 4, I have Darnold. His system was very one read, one throw sort of stuff. A lot of short passing game stuff, not a lot of difficult sideline throws. So I feel like some of his stuff, although I feel like he can make a lot of the throws in the NFL and pretty much every throw, I do feel like he also in the college football was given it a little bit easy in terms of his reads. And then number 5, Baker Mayfield, I feel like had the most unrealistic system in terms of transferring it to the NFL. A lot of different college football stuff. Like, I don't really know how to really explain it other than it's a typical college football offense. Like, it's something that wouldn't really be transferable to the NFL in my opinion. Now, those are the systems. Going to potential, these are the players in order that I feel like have the most to the least potential. Josh Allen, the most potential, obviously. The guy has a cannon of an arm. He's fast. He's big. He's a prototypical, made in a super soldier, Captain America body. The guy is a freak of nature, and he has all the tools to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. At number 2, I have Lamar Jackson. He has all the tools to become one of the best dual threat quarterback of all time. He has the tools to be an all-pro, a Hall of Famer. He has the tools to be a better version of Michael Vick. At number 3, there's Sam Darnold. He has good size. I feel like he has pretty good accuracy overall. He's good at escaping the pressure. I feel like he can be an Andrew Luck. He can be a Phillip Rivers. He can be a pretty good all-pro caliber, borderline Hall of Fame at peak potential. Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield can at least be a Case Keenum, but he could also turn out to be a Drew Brees. I think he has that amount of wide scope. I just think his size keeps him a little bit down on the list in terms of potential. Josh Rosen is last because the best he's going to be to me is Eli Manning. I think he's a very safe prospect. I don't think you're necessarily going to get a bust with Josh Rosen, but I don't think you're going to get a superstar. So Josh Rosen is number 5. Throw motion. Josh Rosen's number 1. I feel like Josh Rosen has a very crisp, clean throwing motion. It's very polished, and it's NFL ready for sure. At number 2, Baker Mayfield has a very good release, uses his full body when throwing the ball, has a strong arm, but also, is never really out of tune in terms of when he's throwing the ball on the run. It's crisp. When he's throwing in the pocket, it's crisp. He's good at resetting his feet and throwing the ball. Number 3, I have Allen, who has a kind of a weird release point, but overall he gets his body into it. He gets a full torque, sort of like Ben Roethlisberger in a way when he throws the ball, like that full motion. It's a little awkward, but it works for him. At number 4, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, which we'll get to, has an amazing release, but I feel like, and he has a great wrist, but he throws the ball like Michael Vick. Like, he throws the ball like, you know how Michael Vick would throw it like that, sort of? Like, all arm. Lamar Jackson has an amazing arm. Like, it's very strong, and he can throw it all over the field, but he relies too much on his arm. So, overall, when talking about throwing motion, I feel like he doesn't use his legs enough, and sometimes he gets sort of, like, stiff. Like, he kind of just stands there and doesn't use his arm or his legs enough. So that's why I have him at number 4. And then number 5, Sam Darnold. This is a lot has to do with his release. His release is very clunky. It's kind of Phillip Rivers-y. It's very elongated. His legs are pretty solid, but like overall his arm motion isn't very good. It could be at worst Blake Bortles bad, but I feel like it's sort of like Phillip Rivers-y. So I don't really like the throwing motion. Next is release. Sort of talked about this a little bit. Lamar Jackson, to me, has the best release. It's the quickest. It's the easiest to get to because his motion is all wrist. It's just bam, bam. Baker Mayfield has a very fluid motion. It's very quick. Josh Allen, to me, it's a little elongated, but it's still fast because he has that torque on it. And it's a pretty good release. It's pretty fast. Then I have Rosen was third. Rosen was third, and I feel like he has, similarly to Baker Mayfield, but he's a little bit bigger. So, but it's very crisp because his throwing motion is very sound. So his release is pretty good. Then I have Allen, then Darnold overall because his release is just very elongated. It's very weird. It's windy. So that's why he's last on release. And then I have accuracy. Accuracy, this is going to maybe shock some people. Baker Mayfield is the most accurate quarterback of all these guys. Doesn't matter if he's on the run. Doesn't matter if he's in the pocket. He always puts the ball on the money. He never misses a throw. He has great touch. Amazing touch. Just the ability to throw like a little lob pass or a little sidearm every once in a while. Like, he has very good accuracy all over the field. He can make sideline throws, inside, outside, long, short. He has very good touch on short passes, very good touch on deep passes. Overall, best touch, best accuracy of all quarterbacks. That's why he's sort of like Drew Brees in a way, in that way. In that way. Rosen, number 2. Because his throwing motion is good, because his release is sound, he has a good accuracy. He can put the ball where he wants. He can make all the throws in the NFL. At number 3, I have Darnold. He is very good on the run. I feel like he's good at kind of like stepping up in the pocket. He's able to hit guys accurately. I also feel like it's tough to evaluate his accuracy at times because he has very open receivers, and also at other times he has very easy throws to make, like a lot of drags, a lot of slants, like a lot of sort of easy throws. At number 4, I have Lamar Jackson. He does sometimes miss receivers, but not often. I feel like he is very accurate. I feel like all these guys are pretty accurate except for my last guy. Lamar Jackson is very sound, especially in the middle of the field. He's maybe the best of everybody in terms of his inside the number throws. He's impressive in that way, actually, especially the way he is in the pocket. Outside the numbers, he sometimes does miss on like outs and comebacks, but he's still very accurate. At number 5, Josh Allen. I feel like Josh Allen, he is accurate on the run. He's less accurate sometimes. He sort of just like wings it. Sometimes he just relies too much on his arm to make the throw, and he does miss. Like his throw is so strong and his arm is so strong that he sometimes misses. And I don't think he's as inaccurate as people say. And I feel like people talk about his completion percentage and stuff, which is just dumb because that relies on the actual offense itself. It doesn't rely on the actual player as much. And to me, I think that overall he just trusts his arm too much to make a throw, and he doesn't put enough touch on the ball, especially short passes. Then I have arm strength. Then when it comes back to Allen, it's unreal. I don't need to say much more. It's ridiculous. Lamar Jackson is number 2. He can make all the throws. He can make a throw across the field. He can throw the ball deep with great accuracy. And he can throw the ball, hard deep. He can throw it on, crisply. he's able to fit the ball tight on slants and like in routes. Then you have Baker Mayfield, who I think has a sort of an underrated arm. It's very good, especially when he's on the run. Josh Rosen is number 4. I don't think his arm is quite as strong as people say it is. I think it's sort of overrated, but it's still pretty good. It still can make all the throws, but not like exceptionally well. Like he can make the throws very well, but it's not like impressive when you watch him throw the ball. You know what I mean? It's not like Josh Allen sort of. Then you have at number 5, Darnold. I think he can make the throws. It's just not, he doesn't have amazing strength. Like, I don't think he can throw the ball across the field. Like, I don't think he can, like, John Elway it. You know what I mean? Like, he has, like, better than Alex Smith throw power, but, like, it's not, like, great, you know? It's average. I don't think any of these guys have bad arms, but none of them have, like, or Allen and Lamar Jackson, I think, have great arms. Mayfield has a very good arm, and I would say Rosen has a good arm. Then Darnold has an average arm. Then you have pocket poise. To me, actually, when watching, I thought that Josh Allen had the best pocket poise. He always stays in and throws the ball. He'll escape pressure a ton with his size and his arm. Like, he's able to avoid people like that and still look down the field. He's really good at looking down the field no matter what. He's always looking down the field. He's always trying to find a receiver. And I feel like a lot of that is because he's so physically gifted that it allows him to sort of, okay, if a guy's coming, I can just sort of shoo them aside and then throw it. He's very confident in that way, and that's why I really like his pocket poise. He's not afraid to get sacked at all. Darnold is number 2. Darnold is very good at operating within his tackles and kind of moving up in the pocket and sort of shifting around and making a throw. I think he's very good at that overall. Lamar Jackson, number 3. A lot of people say that Lamar Jackson relies on his feet too much to run. Lamar Jackson, in terms of actual mobility and like escaping pressure, is by far the best. Allen is very good, but Lamar Jackson is on another level of avoiding pressure. But when it comes to pocket poise, staying in the pocket and making the throw, Lamar Jackson does sometimes move out of the pocket because he's so fast that he just says, hey, I'm going to run, or hey, I'm going to get out of the pocket and throw. Because he knows he can make that throw outside the pocket, and he knows he can run outside the pocket and escape the end or the linebacker rushing him. So he does sometimes do that. But I also feel like Lamar Jackson is very calm in the pocket. He sort of has like this Michael Vick thing. He's sort of like, you know how Michael Vick would sort of like stand up straight like that and kind of like bounce on his feet? Lamar Jackson is very much like that, and he waits. He doesn't move a lot in the pocket. I feel like he doesn't really like move in the pocket to throw the ball. Like, you know how Tom Brady like moves from left to right, up and down to sort of throw the ball? And I feel like Sam Darnold and Allen are better at that. Jackson sort of just kind of bounces up and down. But he is, in terms of, he's not afraid of pressure. Then you have at number 4, Baker Mayfield, who I think is still good, and he's especially good at escaping pressure. But, like, I feel like he runs, like, he goes to run or throw on the run too fast sometimes. And because he's so small, he kind of just knows that he has to escape and he doesn't sort of, like, you know, move from side to side a little bit. You know, so that's why I have him at number 4. And then at number 5 is Josh Rosen. This guy is afraid to get hit sometimes. I don't know what I say. And he doesn't escape pressure. He stands there stiff like a board, and he gets killed sometimes because he doesn't see the pressure coming sometimes, especially from his blind side. And then if it's too late, he's not able to escape it. So that's an issue. That's his biggest issue, in my opinion, is he can't escape pressure. And when you can't escape pressure in college, how are you going to be able to escape pressure in the pros? So I feel like that is a huge issue. Then we have mobility, on the run, the ability to throw on the run. So Josh Allen is number 1. Because of his throw power, he's able to make every throw possible on the run. It's like he was standing in the pocket and able to throw a perfect throw. He still can do it on the run. It's very impressive. Baker Mayfield is very accurate on the run. He's probably the most accurate quarterback on the run, but he doesn't quite have the power to make every throw that Allen does. Allen is like Aaron Rodgers, like good on the run. Like it's scary good. Lamar Jackson is really good on the run as well. I think that you didn't really see him make as many throws as the other guys on the run. He does throw from the pocket a lot, which I found very impressive about him. But when he does escape the pocket, he does tend to run more than throw. Number 4 is Sam Darnold. He is good on the run as well. He's very accurate, but he doesn't have the throw power to make all the throws that the other guys do. At number 5 is Josh Rosen. He just can't escape the pocket. He doesn't have the ability to, and that's why I keep stressing it. Like he doesn't have the ability like these other guys do. And I feel like when we get into his final evaluation, he's going to have to be a system guy. Like, he's going to have to be a guy like Eli, sort of, in a way. Mobility. Lamar Jackson. He's special. He's special. He has an amazing juke move. He has amazing stutter step. He makes guys look freaking silly. He can spin out of pressure. He runs people over sometimes. Like, he's really impressive with his legs. He has great vision. He has great balance. He has great ability to contort his body to get through holes like a running back. It's Michael Vick. It's Michael Vick-like. It's really special. Number 2 is Allen. Very good speed for his size. His size also helps when trying to beat defenders. Because he can stiff arm people, he can sort of break tackles. He has pretty good agility for his size overall, and he's straight line faster than Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. Baker Mayfield has very good quickness from side to side, but he's not as fast straight line. Sam Darnold is probably as fast as Baker Mayfield straight line, but he doesn't have the vision like him running the ball. At number 5 is Rosen because he can't run. Size, Allen, number 1. Obviously, he's a tank. He's like Cam Newton, Ben Roethlisberger. Number 2 is Josh Rosen, who's kind of like, I don't know, Mike Glennon-ish. He's like sort of tall, but he's like lanky kind of. He's not like lanky, I guess, but he's not like Allen. He's not thick with 2 C's. Darnold is pretty good size overall. He's like 6'3". He's still growing, I think. He's going to get a little bigger, and I think he can get a little thicker, and I think that's going to help him. Jackson is a little skinny, but he's still tall, and he's tough, like he's strong. He looks skinny, but he's strong. And number 5 is Mayfield. He's small, and he's just short. He's like 6 feet. He's like sort of Drew Brees size. He's Jeff Garcia-ish. And, you know, Johnny Manziel-ish in a way. So that's his size. Decision-making, Baker Mayfield is number 1. He had the least amount of interceptions when talking about statistics. He also doesn't make any stupid passes. Very rarely does he make stupid passes. He'll throw the ball away when it's not there. Lamar Jackson is very good as well, especially from the pocket. He knows where to throw the ball to kind of make an incomplete pass. You know how like Tom Brady throws like balls sort of at the receiver, but only like where the receiver can catch it? Lamar Jackson's good at that. He also, because of his mobility, doesn't throw a lot of interceptions because he's able to escape pressure and throw it away or run. Rosen is good with his decision-making overall from the pocket. He doesn't make a ton of stupid throws. Where he does struggle is in tight spaces in the red zone. He does sometimes throw interceptions. He does sometimes lose sight of the safeties. But I think he'll improve on those things. Allen, just sometimes because of his because of his arm, he makes dumb throws because he thinks he can make like Jesus-like throws. And number 5 is Sam Darnold. This also has to do with his fumbles. He doesn't tuck the ball away and take a sack sometimes. His release doesn't allow him to kind of have a tighter throw, and he gets a lot of sacks and strip sacks. When throwing the football, he sometimes makes dumb throws when his first read isn't there. Leadership-wise, and this is the final category, Baker Mayfield is number 1. The guy is a warrior. He is consistently getting his team amped up. He is a leader of men. And number 2, I have Lamar Jackson. He is more of a silent leader, but he's sort of like Russell Westbrook. He'll make an amazing play, and then he'll amp up the rest of his team, and he'll get pumped up. And number 3, I have Allen. You see him on the sidelines at times get his team excited. When he makes a play, when he leads the way, I feel like the team responds. And number 4, Sam Darnold's also a good leader, just I don't think quite as good as the other guys. He doesn't get overly emotional, which I like from leaders. He doesn't sort of get the team going. Like I've never really seen him get the team going or like bring the team back from a tough situation. Like I don't see that much from Sam Darnold. And number 5, Josh Rosen. He's known off the field to be sort of a dick. He does have a little bit of concerns in that regard. And he's not really the best teammate out of all of them. So that's why he's number 5. So overall, when giving the rankings, when giving the points, when giving the tallies, the skill sets are as follows. Sam Darnold actually finishes last and 5th with 8 points overall. How I tallied it was if you got a first place, you got 3 points. If you were second, you got 2 points. If you were third, you got If you were first, you got 3 points. If you were second, you got 2 points. And if you were third, you got 1 point. That's how you do it. Sam Darnold got 8 points. Josh Rosen was number 4 with 13. Those two guys are very close in the skill set rankings. Overall, those two guys are going to be very close for me until the draft. And this is just skill set. This is just the way I rank their skill set. That's not how I actually feel like I would draft them. I'll get into that right after. Number 3, Baker Mayfield. 22 points. Solid 3rd place. Only 2 behind 2nd place, Josh Allen. And in number 1, Lamar Jackson with 26 points. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd tally points. Now, when giving the comparables, when giving the comparisons of pro football players of the past or the current, I have Josh Allen being like Cam Newton. He has great size. He has great throw power. He's amazing on the run, throwing the ball. But his accuracy does sort of miss. He does miss receivers. He does sometimes make dumb decisions. He is a physical beast, like Cam Newton. Lamar Jackson. I have Michael Vick. Very easy. Very similar release of the football. He has sort of similar accuracy, but I think his is better. He is similar in terms of running the ball. He has great quickness and agility and speed. He's not as good of a runner as Michael Vick, but he's close. And I feel like he is a better passer, though. And I feel like he has a better decision-making than Michael Vick. Mayfield, I feel like, is a lot like Jeff Garcia. Great touch, good accuracy, a good arm, better than a lot of people would give credit for, and good agility and ability to escape the pressure, but not elite in terms of that, and small. Sam Darnold, I think, is like Andrew Luck mixed with Phillip Rivers. I don't think he's as good as Andrew Luck or Phillip Rivers, but I think he has mixed qualities of both. I think he's a good leader like Phillip Rivers and Andrew Luck. I think he has a similar release to Phillip Rivers and Andrew Luck. He has the ability to escape pressure and move in the pocket like Andrew Luck, and he's tough like Andrew Luck. But I don't think he is like the same quality as both players. I think he's a little bit below that. And then my last one, Josh Rosen. I think his ceiling is an Eli Manning. I think he's a good pocket passer with limited mobility. He has, he can make all the throws. He is relatively smart. But I also think his downside is like a Mike Glennon. He can't move in the pocket, which forces him to make some dumb decisions. He can't escape pressure, which he takes sacks and causes turnovers. And I think that he is a little overrated in terms of his arm talent. I don't think he's special like Josh Allen in that way. So those are my comparables and my comparisons. And how I would rank each quarterback. So for the final ratings here, at number 1, or I should start off at number 5. At number 5, I have Josh Rosen. I think I've made that pretty clear. I just think his mobility, he lacks upside. He's polished, but he lacks upside. I feel like he can be a good starter, but he can't be a great one. And I think like he's going to be an average player. I don't think he's going to be any better than that. At number 4, I have Sam Darnold. He has potential to be very good. His release is a little clunky. He does make kind of stupid errors, and I'm concerned about his offense that he played. But he is accurate. He is good on the run. He's good at escaping pressure. He's good at moving in the pocket. At number 3, I have Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield is going to be a good quarterback. I think his worst that he can be is like a Case Keenum. The best he can be is a Drew Brees. I think he has great touch and accuracy. He has a great strong arm. I think given the right system and a system that knows how to use small quarterbacks, he can be very good. And I think his leadership qualities will make him a very good quarterback. At number 2, I have Josh Allen. It's very close, but at number 2, I have Josh Allen. Number 1, I have Lamar Jackson. Now, Josh Allen, the only concerns I have about him, limited competition faced and his accuracy issues. I think he has amazing talent. I think he has a great size, speed, and arm strength, which is very rare of any prospect that I've seen. He's going to be a very good player, I think. I think he can be I think he has the potential to be one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He also has the potential to be a bust. So that's why Josh Allen is at number 2. At number 1, I have Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, I feel, can both carry teams. These are two players that, if you get them, can both carry teams. I feel like Lamar Jackson, in a way that's not as good as Josh Allen, I think that Josh Allen can be better in mostly every system. I feel like Lamar Jackson will need to get a little bit more help in terms of the system he plays in, but I think Lamar Jackson is more polished than Josh Allen. I think he has better accuracy. He is special in terms of a runner. He is very good in terms of a passer, and he kind of benefited from that. Like, Michael Vick at the end of his career as an Eagle. That's sort of what I think Lamar Jackson can be, but consistently. He doesn't get injured like Michael Vick. He is strong. He is a good leader. He is smart. He is a good off the field prospect. And I feel like he can fully maximize. His full potential could be Michael Vick at absolute peak. Like, I feel like he could be a legend. I feel like he could be a top 10 quarterback of all time, just like I think Josh Allen could be. But I also think that Lamar Jackson won't be a bad quarterback. I think the worst you're getting is like Marcus Mariota. So that's how I feel about these quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold. That's my top 5. The way I would order it: Jackson, Allen, Mayfield, Darnold, Rosen. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this comparison. I went really in-depth and deep in these quarterbacks, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more NFL draft coverage and NFL videos. All we do on this channel is NFL, NFL, NFL. It's Mitch of the Bottom Line View. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe, like the video, leave your comment, and peace out.